Let's say you find a book with a set of instructions, or someone shares that information with you. You may not like what's on it, but you can see the truth in it. You test it out, and surprise, it actually works. Knowing the human mind, you know we'd never come up with something like that. However, a human did. But here comes the crazy part, he claims to be God. Everything he said up until the point of claiming divinity, you agreed with. You weren't there at the time, but he performed a lot of miracles. He healed people, controlled the weather, multiplied food, turned water into wine, and he knew what was inside people's hearts. He could actually read their minds. But all of that could be said that he was a magician, a trickster. But even if you do believe in the supernatural, since we've all had supernatural experiences, we just end up rationalizing them, you'd probably say he's either working with demons or you, someday, can have access to the same powers he has. Your soul simply hasn't reached that level yet. But still, removing the part that's hard to believe, you believe in everything else he said. Now therefore, my question for you is, if everything he said is true, why can't the part where he says he's God cannot be true? Why? If a cookbook's recipes produce delicious foods, don't you want to meet the one who wrote it? And if no one else can reproduce what he teaches, doesn't that make that individual one of a kind? And if he is one of a kind, why can't he be God? Why? Humans can figure out how everything works with enough time and experimentation. However, how we should relate to one another is the hardest. Our set of morals are not set in stone. The law of gravity is, how the human body works also. But the way we should live our lives isn't. We can't agree with any philosopher since their philosophy is according to their own life's experiences, and how things were at the time, your opinion versus mine. But just like math is universal and irrefutable, so are this individual's teachings. We don't need to mention the fact that this individual rose people from the dead. He himself rose from the dead after his body was completely disfigured, and one of his last words was so nothing bad would happen to the people who joyfully murdered him. Although, they truly did not know what they were doing. We don't need to focus on that, we only need to focus on what he taught, and it works. The Christian set of morals actually work, and they're right. Therefore, if his miracles weren't enough proof since it could have all been a magic trick, or they can't be replicated, or proven because there were no cameras at the time, why agree with everything he said, but the part where he's God? There's no self-serving in his teachings. He says we're all the same and to serve others, especially if you think you're the one that should be served. If we have more, we should give more. And we should love our enemies. I'm willing to follow that nutcase, but let's be honest, his teachings in this world are ludicrous. If this is, indeed, the only life we'll get, only me, myself, and I matter, no one else. Therefore, his teachings only work if he indeed is who he claims to be. But even if he's not, his teachings do work. And if his teachings work, it means it comes from a great mind. But unfortunately, there's something wrong with that great mind. That great mind claims to be God. I've never experienced a greater show of love than his one of forgiveness. Because, brother and sister, we do not deserve it. Seeing Christ on the cross. I have no words for it. I'm thankful, but I can't stop wondering, why? Why would someone do that for us? Us? My mother forgets to make lunch, and I'm ready to throw her off a balcony. While God forgave us for the atrocities we make every single day. Sorry, not God, just this crazy individual who claims to be him. But why would he do that if he wasn't who he claims to be? For an ideal? How did he know it would work? I'm willing to die for those I love, and so are you. Doesn't God love his creation? You're not willing to accept his divinity based on the miracles he performed since it cannot be proven. But are you willing to believe based on his moral standards?